Without any further ado, let's welcome our speaker, Abhishek Bhattacharya. Hi, who will walk us through what are the essential blockchain technology concepts are. He's a co-founder and head of blockchain tech at Brú Finance, which is India's only blockchain native fintech platform. He's a 3 times entrepreneur and an author too. At Brú, he's bringing blockchain to farmers to save their income and connecting them to decentralized finance lenders. Not only that, he's also a blockchain educator and has taught more than 50,000 faculties, PhDs, and students belonging to India and other 6 countries since 2020. It's such a great achievement in such a short time. You can also ask your more questions in the Q&A box while Abhishek is doing his session. We will answer this at the end of the session. Over to you, Abhishek.
Hey, thanks. Thank you so much. Can you hear me, Hema?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. So let me just share my screen and let's get started. Let me know once you can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Hema, for the warm introduction. Thank you, everyone. I see that we have at least about 90 odd people, about to be 100, right? So great. Guys, thank you so much for joining. And I guess that someone's joining from, from far east, far west. So, and I think one of our organizers could not join because especially the time there is beyond 12 now. So it's great to have this community. And today, as this is the second session in an entire series where we teach you blockchain, right? From ground up to writing smart contracts, right? Building applications. So I think this is one of the best series that you can be a part of, especially if you're getting into blockchain, right? Especially if you're new to blockchain, you have heard about cryptocurrencies, you've maybe invested in Ethereum, Bitcoin, Matic and all other altcoins or Bitcoin directly, maybe since years or few months. But now you want to learn blockchain technology, right? You want to understand that what is it exactly about? What is all of this hype about? What are NFTs, right? What were the tokens that we used to do ICOs with? And what is the future? What does the future look like? What is decentralized finance? What is DeFi? How is it different from CeFi and all? So a lot of questions, right? Not all questions we'll answer today. Definitely not. This is an introduction, a very essential concepts session today. What this session particularly should do is that to pave path for you going forward, going for the next 3 sessions and later on as well, taking more and more advanced courses. And these days you get to see all these beautiful courses online, right? YouTube is filled with all courses. Then there are so many other platforms will help you be a blockchain developer. So make sure that at the end of, by the end of Jan and Feb mid, and after going through all these, plus doing some work at your end, you start writing smart contracts, you start developing, decentralized applications, which are just normal applications that talk to blockchain and hence are built using other frameworks and languages and etc. So that's what we are doing today. A quick look at what the agenda stands for today. By the way, I will open the Q&A or what I'll do is I won't open the Q&A. Hema, at the end, maybe because I think there's a lot of people. So instead of taking questions in the between, we can take the questions in the last 15 minutes. I think it's set for the questions, right? So we shall do it then. And so I'll just close the chat because it's a lot of things are happening on the chat. So I had opened it on my monitor, but the only thing I'm doing is looking at the chat. So okay, I've closed all of it. All right. Yeah. So I'll wait for the end, when we can take up the questions. Great. And we are not doing something very tough that you won't have a lot of questions, which in the mid of it. So I think it should be cool. All right, quick look at today's agenda and also quick look at the time. Okay, so we have about 50 minutes. I think we have about 50 minutes to cover everything and then 10, 12, 15 minutes of Q&A, I guess. Right, Hema? That's the plan, right? Okay, great. So we start with introduction to decentralization, right? The core concept. Why this entire thing came into existence, why everything we are doing today. Maybe when you're writing a smart contract, not every characteristic of blockchain, immutability, transparency, anonymity, all these things might not be in your mind at every point in time, but we have evolved from there, right? And blockchain is one of the newest technologies that we have, and just about a decade, 11, 12 years old, and so many applications are popping up. Right. And in the last 2 years, DeFi has come up. NFTs have been there, but they have taken a completely different shape now. everyone is into NFTs, everyone is into DeFi. So yeah, so but we start with decentralization. We try to gather the essence of it. For some, this might be something that you may have heard a bit about in the past if you've attended any of these such essential concepts lectures before. But I hope that, this will add value to your understanding, or at least make things concrete in your mind, which you would need, because I know that, there are so many good sessions in the series, right? You have Marius, you have Austin Griffith, right? Austin is going to get you hands-on into crypto, into smart contracts, right? And I think the next session is Austin's. He'll give you tools and stuff. So make sure that you attend all of those as well. But this will pave the path. The second thing that we do is understand types of blockchain, generational blockchain, how things changed, right? What kind of blockchain do you choose for a particular use case, right? Most of you, I can tell you right here on the agenda slide itself, most of you would now be working on, if you're working as a freelancer, if you're just getting started, now it is 90% chances are that you would get started on a public blockchain. You would start writing smart contracts, push it on the Ethereum testnets, or on the Ethereum mainnet, or on Polygon testnet, Mumbai testnet mainnet, and so on. What eventually, now that is what you're going to do. But eventually, if you join an organization who have been in blockchain and who are doing a lot of things, and not just DeFi or NFTs and stuff, then it would be a huge 90-95% chance that you might be working on something like a permission blockchain, right? Like Quorum, Corda, because the other part of the world, right? The other part of the world which need to work with other clients, like who have who work on SAP systems, Oracle, other things, all these software and applications that have been legacy software, right? Have been there since decades. There's a huge part of the world which work on those things, but now they want to come to blockchain. So you as a blockchain engineer, you as a blockchain developer might be integrating those, those applications, those softwares with blockchain, right? So that's where, permission blockchain would come in. You would work with stakeholders such as supply chain, then, banks and warehouses and things like that, which we also do. That's where you would be working with permission blockchain. You make nodes and you add them. Banks would, unless they are trying out something like CBDC, etc., or maybe cross-border payments, or like what Ripple does and stuff. Unless and until that is happening, there's a huge chance that you would be working on permission blockchains, because bank would not do their day-to-day activities on a public blockchain like Ethereum, right? I hope that is clear. Then at the end, we do spend 5 minutes or even less than that on just quickly going through some slides, because the time is very less. Essential concepts plus career opportunities is a lot, right? So I just keep those slides there so that you can just take a screenshot or look through them, what you can do, right? Starting from here, many of you might have just written some lines of code and still are attending this. Many of you might be completely new to blockchain technology. So what you can do, what kind of career pathways can you really, can you really take up, and then plan accordingly, because this is the best time to choose, right? When you're starting. So that's something that would be up for grabs. So that's what my purpose is going to be for the next 60 or now 50 minutes, 40, 50 minutes. And later on, how can you build a career in blockchain technology? Hema has given a very warm introduction. So I've been in blockchains in the last 5.5 years, not more than that. And Hema said 50,000 faculty and students I've taught. No, it's 5,000, 50,000. I would love to do very, very soon. But I have taught a lot of people. I do such lectures. So anything blockchain, I believe that I would be, of support to you. My credentials are on screen. You can take a screenshot. Please follow on Twitter and everywhere else, wherever you want to ask or get in touch. That's it. Today's bird's eye view. What we are doing today, why blockchain, the core concepts, right? And then, what you need to prepare for taking up much further advanced courses, right? So first of all, why blockchain, right? Why not any other technology? What was wrong with, databases that you were anyways using, right? Centralized databases. What was wrong with that? Why the shift to, entire shift to decentralization? A very novel form of technology, a novel piece of technology, secure beyond imagination of many. New things come up, like you might be having questions like quantum computing will break the encryption, this, that, hence it's fine. But till now, it's one of the most strongest. It's a very strong technology that you can really come across. That has inbuilt strength, right? Security and strength, robustness, right? Take a blockchain example like Bitcoin. Theoretically, everything is possible. Some of you might have heard, 51% attack we can do on Bitcoin, on Ethereum. Ethereum Classic has faced it in the past. it's fine, but those are theoretical. If you want to do that practically, I don't know what amount of resources you would actually need to spend, which will go in vain because things don't work out the way you plan that way. Just pouring in money will not give you, give you the capability to change Bitcoin transactions that have happened in the past. So the way cryptocurrencies or blockchain technology or decentralized ledger works is that you cannot go back and change something because it has been interwoven into separate blocks, which are like linked lists. They're connected together. Changing anything even in the nth block will have all the it will have a major repercussion across all the blocks that have come before that, right? So yeah, so that's on the other way around. So changing anything backwards is going to have a repercussion in all the single blocks that have come after that, right, till the current one. And that's practically very impossible. So that's why blockchain, right? There are certain concepts related to blockchain technology which you would frequently hear. And also, even though, so I have an anecdote to share. Nowadays, so we are constantly interviewing candidates, right? And this is, I think, a good information for you to know as well, all of you. And we just touched 100. That's great, guys. 100 people tuning in at various time zones. That's great, amazing. Great that you all are learning blockchain. An anecdote is that, these days we are always usually interviewing blockchain candidates for internship profiles, then for full-time profiles. Many profiles and vacancies are open usually. I see a trend change, right? People have now gotten so much into public blockchains and decentralized finance that people are directly jumping into smart contract. They're opening up remix. They're starting to write smart contracts, or they're downloading something like Hardhat and, trying and testing contracts there. Okay. But when you go to the configuration file of Hardhat, you need to change it, that what kind of blockchain you're using. And there is where it is giving you a local blockchain to run. But once you're doing that, you're not understanding that what is beneath that, right? Earlier, I was seeing, whenever I was interviewing, I was seeing that, yes, people know concepts of, how to set up an Ethereum network, which is very simple. It takes you a couple of hours if you're new, but it is very simple, step-by-step process. You can, just immediately crop up an instance or, nodes, 5-6 nodes, connect them as peers and make a blockchain out of it, and even mine there, and then connect that with your remix, and then run smart contracts there. But you don't have to do that because you have so many Truffle and other Truffle, Ganache, Hardhat, and all these softwares which allow you to run a local blockchain without writing a piece of code, one single piece of code. So that's fine. But it is imperative for you to understand concepts like these, which you can see here. That just give me a second. Okay, I don't think I have a pen option. All right, no worries. I'll just skip it. Yeah, I don't have it. Okay. Cool. So yeah, so eventually you have to learn concepts like, you can see, decentralization, types of blockchain, consensus mechanisms, very important. If you're new to blockchain, you do not know consensus mechanisms, you may start writing smart contracts today. Tomorrow, when you go for working on a blockchain application, which is beyond smart contracts, which has nodes, right, which your company manages, your team manages, you may have to manage, you will falter. Because you have no idea that how proof of work works, how proof of stake works, how a permission network consensus mechanism like Raft works. So that's it. So these are the few things that maybe we can't do it in detail today, but this should give you, the next few slides should give you a good idea to what to search to know, right? Many of you would have started writing smart contracts, but ask yourself, do you know how the entire, what is the life cycle of a transaction? What happens when you initiate a transaction from a wallet to another wallet? What is the entire life cycle that it goes through? Do you know that it lands into the mempool, then gets picked up by a miner, then gets mined, then gets added to the blockchain, and then is when you see it credited to your friend's wallet? This entire, but yeah, that mining part is also, once you zoom in into that process of mining, you would see that it's an entire process. They are doing hit and trial. The miners, 10,000 miners, 5,000 miners are doing hit and trial on finding a particular number, which is called nonce. And then just it should give you the solution in a fashion, right? That yes, you're finding a hash where the protocol says that yes, give me this kind of hash with 6 zeros in the front, 8 zeros in the front, 10 zeros, which is more difficult, right? So all these things happen, and you should be knowing how these things happen, right? All right. So why did we need decentralization? I might be going a bit fast, guys. So Hema, if you have any specific comment in the chat where I need to go slow, please just let me know. I might be going a bit fast because there is so much to cover in such less time. So I'll try to do justice to both sides. So why do we need decentralization? What is decentralization? Just that, see, the first thing is a classic bank example that we can take up. I give you $1,000. I have, say, for example, any bank, XYZ bank, and you might be on the same bank, might be on a different bank, and we do this transaction. It gets debited from my account, and tomorrow morning I ask you, you say that, hey, I did not receive any $1,000. So my bank debited it from my account, but never credited in anyone else's account or any other bank's, entire ledger or your account ledger. Know where it went. Yes, that doesn't happen, right? Frequently, right? Because there is a point that, yes, all these are regulated entities. They have a watchdog on top of them. All of it is fine. But what stops them from doing this? You do not want to live in a society, in a world, right, where you are putting the keys to your wealth, the keys to your life into someone else's hands and only their hands. That's fine. You put your keys of your wealth and your life into someone else's hands, but make sure that it's a group, right? It's not one person's or one entity's hands, in a nutshell. So instead of putting your entire trust in the hands of a bank, which is very centralized. I mean, bank is, you would know that, right? If you spend 10 minutes on Twitter, you would see how people, accuse banks of being centralized in nature. That's an epitome of centralization, right? And everything else, you share your data with Google, that's one entity. Facebook, one entity, right? All of these entities are information silos and they can do anything. And in the past, they have done this, done that. Let's not go into that, but yes, they are centralized entities. Why not? So why to have trust in such entities? And rather than that, what you can do is do the same thing, right? Use applications, put your keys to your life or career and wealth into the hands of a group, an entire group of people who are keeping track of whatever transactions you're doing. So now I sent $1,000 to someone, say Hema, and what it would mean is that 10 different people in a group, in the network that Hema and I are part of, would be writing the same transaction on their individual ledgers. Now, say, for example, anyone else here, I'm not taking a name, I don't have any names in front of me. Anyone XYZ here does something that they change the $1,000 to $980 or $900. Everyone else, right? Out of 5, maybe say one is doing this, so 4 others will immediately point that out. Hey, how does your ledger look different than ours? Why does your ledger have 980 instead of 1,000, which is in everyone's ledger? And immediately you can be kicked out. So did I face a fraud? No. You tried doing fraud with me. You tried, defrauding me. You tried, messing up with my records. You tried messing up with my transactions to do some financial gain to yourself, but you were kicked out. Just imagine that happening in a centralized world. It happens all the time. It happens with governments. It happens with, other entities, parties and all. There are so many big scandals that come up. They take years to get unearthed, right? But here it was within a few minutes that the entire network got to know that, yes, you are a culprit and you're doing something messy, right? And you were kicked out and the thing was rectified, right? The entire network accepted the chain or accepted the ledgers that was the longest or that was most accurate, and supported by all other nodes. That is arriving at a consensus, right? 10 different nodes are arriving at a consensus that, yes, these are the protocol rules which we'll follow to write transactions in our ledger. And that's going to be accepted by everyone. That's coming at or arriving at a consensus. And the mechanism that you're using is called consensus mechanism. These are individual protocols that you use. Examples: proof of work, proof of stake, proof of authority, delegated proof of stake. We are not covering any of those today, but proof of work, you must have heard that Bitcoin and Ethereum are on proof of work. Proof of stake, Ethereum is trying to move to proof of stake, and so on, right? And these are all, there are different rules to arrive at a consensus. Very, very important for you to know. Whenever I take interviews, these are, the top questions on my list that I definitely ask, and I then go deeper and deeper and deeper, right? So something you should be definitely careful about. So that is decentralization, putting trust into a group, in the hands of a group, and not a single centralized entity. Right? So what is the answer, right? Is a solution to this DLT, distributed ledger technology? Is it blockchain technology, and why, right? Okay, before arriving at why blockchain, right, which is an answer that, many people can, yes, resonate with that. Okay, whatever we are seeing, reading, listening, yes, it suits, right? Let us first understand, before answering why blockchain, let us first understand there are a few myths of blockchain, right? Few very specific myths, which in the last 3-4 years, whenever I've taught blockchain, right? It's a long time now. And every time that I've taught blockchain, this is the first thing that I tell, because people nowadays, it's still a bit different, but still most of the people I teach, they kind of, when I say blockchain, from the front, it comes that, okay, Bitcoin? No, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is an implementation. You can see here, right? I don't have a pen. I don't have the pen option. I don't know why, but okay. So yeah, so you can see here that, this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that is an implementation of the technology called blockchain. Blockchain is a larger technology. You use AI to do something, to create chatbots. So chatbot is not equal to AI, right? So similarly, Bitcoin or any other altcoin or alternative coins like, Ethereum, Monero, Matic, Polygon, whatever it is, all of these are cryptocurrencies not equal to blockchain technology. It's an implementation. You use blockchain technology to create that kind of a coin, right? And then you create an entire ecosystem based out of that coin. You do whatever you want to do with it. You do an ICO, an IDO, you send your coin from one wallet to another, you integrate it with other applications, you gamify it, whatever you want to do, you do it on blockchain technology, right? But it's not the same thing. It's one of the implementations. For example, we have been giving loans to farmers since the last 3 years using blockchain technology, and we did not use cryptocurrencies for a single day, because neither do we take the loan from the banks in crypto, nor do we give loans to banks to farmers in crypto. I cannot imagine giving a farmer 2 ethers, right, in his wallet and asking him to spend it to buy produce, right, or buy fertilizers, right? It's insane at this point. At least it's insane, completely insane, right? Whichever country's farmer it would be, I am pretty much sure that it would be insane to even hear. Right? So we have been doing this without the involvement of cryptocurrency. Now is when we are taking up an entire use case of cryptocurrencies, because we are going into decentralized finance. And decentralized finance is global, where global lenders pay, global lenders lend, deposit. There comes the cryptocurrency angle. But again, that cryptocurrency still will be getting transferred, or still would be getting converted into Indian rupees, right, and given to a farmer in India. If it's other country, that would be converted into fiat currency, right? So yeah, it's not one and the same thing. And secondly, is blockchain can become everything is a myth that people have been keeping a lot in their minds. People in my class have come and said that, hey, I want to build a to-do app on blockchain. You do it. It's a great way to start. Any kind of language you want to learn, Angular, you want to learn React, or you want to learn blockchain, it's a great way to start. You create a structure of to-do, you create multiple to-dos, you keep a true and false for done or not done. It's a very good way to start. But tell me something, do you want to take it to production? Do you want to build an entire decentralized app that does nothing other than just keep you track, allow you to keep track of to-dos, your daily to-dos? Make sure that blockchain is not something you're using as your regular database. It's not cheap, right? Neither it is free, nor it is anywhere cheap, right? Sometimes it's pretty costly to even handle all those nodes, set up an entire network, hire those resources, make sure that all the nodes are all time running, pay for the AWS accounts and the instances as well. It becomes pretty costly very, very soon, right? So make sure that your use case, your decentralized app has a specific use case where blockchain would help. And where does blockchain help? Just check out. Blockchain has several characteristics. It is transparent, right? So wherever you need transparency, like supply chain management, like loans, fintech. That's why banking and fintech have seen such an implementation of blockchain, because it brings in transparency. One thing that was lacking, or that has been lacking in fintech, right? In finance and banking. Then it has anonymity. Right? So use it somewhere where you need people to be anonymous and still people to be able to prove that who they are without telling that, yes, who they are actually in the public platform. Do it there, right? You use cryptography for that. That's what crypto is for. Then, so make sure that you match 1:1 certain characteristics of blockchain with what they can do in, with what blockchain can do for your project. Don't just do anything on blockchain and say that, yes, you're a blockchain developer. Why? Because you might be a damn good blockchain developer, but if your understanding of business case is not there, that why am I using? Because someday you would become from blockchain developer to a developer come architect, right? And that time you falter. You should understand that why you're using blockchain and where. So now we come to the question, out of everything, why blockchain? Number one, no central point of failure. Databases are fragile, right? They're centralized, they're fragile. Your bank is there, your bank can go rogue, can go down, it can face a massive attack and something will happen. No matter how many RAID 0, RAID 1, or any kind of replicas and copies they keep of the database. Someday if the entire institute goes down, you do not have any other way. But what is the probability that someday, very soon, in near future, the entire network of, say, for example, Bitcoin. That's a very good example to take, right? What is the probability that an entire Bitcoin network with millions of nodes, right? Millions of users, wallets, nodes, everything goes down suddenly? Even if you face a major continent power cut in an entire continent, which is very unlikely, right? Very, stupidly unlikely, right? But still, if you do, there are other nodes as well. Until the time even the last node in the Bitcoin blockchain is alive, you can consider your entire Bitcoin node network to be alive, until and unless the last node is switched off. Even if it is switched off, you can still get it back up. So where do you see a probability that, overnight something can happen to the Bitcoin network? That is how robust it is. It is not in the technology only. It is also in the entire ecosystem, how this thing works. You have to understand it at a much deeper level. Then you should start writing smart contracts. Do not just open remakes. Start writing smart contracts, thinking that, that yes, now I'll be doing decentralized finance. Understand where did decentralized finance come from? Why are you doing this? It is very, very important, guys. I can't even focus, less on this, that, this is very important. Then trust comes before technology in business. So make sure that you're using technology like blockchain to make it trustworthy. Banks are saying yes to us now because they now believe that, yes, now we have to use blockchain. It has gone out of our hands. We are not able to solve the same frauds and problems using our legacy databases and technology. Everything is still happening the same. Big names, Citibank, Standard Chartered, and big names are still facing the same frauds. So now they are not saying no to a solution which does the same thing on a blockchain network. And then things are, immutable on blockchain. Records are immutable. So scams and scandals don't happen. And even if they happen, they're immediately unearthed. The culprit is kicked out and the network is regained into its prior position. You will not have this kind of a flexible technology. I don't think you do anywhere else. Yeah, public but anonymous. Yes, everything is public in a blockchain network, and in a public blockchain network, of course, not in permission ones. And what does it mean? That it's not like, it's not like your everyday mobile wallet where, like the fintech wallets, the wallets that fintech providers provide, where it might be a phone number which people use to send you money, right? Maybe WhatsApp Pay or something like that. Here, you are actually recognized as an individual, or even as an entity. You are recognized as an entire, an encrypted public address. That's like 44, 50, 60 character long, depending on the kind of wallet you have. And that's what you share with your, with your friend to give you the money. So anyone might be able to see all your transactions in the public. You can just go online. We do not have to have time to do hands-on today. If you go online and you see that what's happening, on a blockchain network like Ethereum, go to any public blockchain explorer like etherscan.io, right? And you would see that all the transactions that have happened just this very moment while we are speaking. You would see how many ethers were transferred. What was the kind of transaction? Was it a contract that was deployed, or was it actually an ether, wallet to wallet ether transaction? All is visible. But do you really know that even though it's public, do you really know all those addresses and who they belong to? Until and unless someone uses a naming service like, like ENS, Ethereum naming service, something like that, where they are deliberately naming their entire, wallet address with, say, something like, like Abhishek.eth. Then you would know that, okay, this is Abhishek's ETH address. But then that's a different use case. They want to do so that using that address becomes easier. But other than that, the core use case is that it is anonymous. You can see everything. It's all public, but it is anonymous. Until and unless you tell someone that, hey, this is my address, now go and check every transaction that I've done in the last 5 years. Then that's on you, not on the blockchain, not on the technology. So what are the types of blockchain that there are? And I can see that there are 9 questions in the Q&A, but I'm not turning them on. We'll take the questions at the end. For people who have joined late, your questions will surely be answered at the end. We have, I think it's 10:05 at my end here in India. We have 25 more minutes. So I'll go through this and then take questions. So types of blockchain, right? What are the types of blockchain? Public, we were discussing public. Then there is a private blockchain as well, as you can see on the right. Private is pretty much, very close to centralized blockchains. It's like, controlled by an entity, but still that ledger is maintained in the form of a blockchain. And then there is hybrid, which is like, example would be a consortium blockchain, which is a mix of both. So public blockchains, zero middleman, anonymous transactions, public transactions, but anonymous transactions. Then zero middleman, no intermediaries. Anyone can join such networks whenever they want. If you're new to blockchain, if you've not ever downloaded something like, the Ethereum client, client written in Golang, which is Get, right? Go Ethereum, Get. Just go after this session. Feel free to go to, Go Ethereum's website and download Geth, install it, and within minutes you would see that the entire Ethereum blockchain starts getting downloaded on your system. If you wait, it's around, I think, 250, 300 GBs maybe, if I'm not wrong. After the time is spent, after the entire download happens, and you can consider that your computer has become a node now. The entire Ethereum blockchain is there stored on your network, on your node, on your local host, and now you're connected to the larger Ethereum network, and now you're acting as a node, any kind of node that you want to be. So that's how simple it is to be a part of a network like Ethereum or any public blockchain. Miners are economically incentivized because there you need miners who are using something like a consensus mechanism, which we discussed just some time back. They are using the consensus mechanism to arrive at a consensus, and whoever is the first one to beat that, whoever is the first one to get the answer, it becomes the miner of a particular block and gets some reward. That reward is economical in nature, right? That they are incentivized, right, with these rewards, so that they spend their computing resources in arriving at a consensus along with other miners, which is actually lifting the entire technology, making it more robust. The core of a blockchain, any blockchain, permissioned, public, private, any kind of blockchain, the core is if there are multiple nodes, how do they arrive at a consensus regarding any block, any transaction that happens? So that's what consensus mechanisms do. That's how important they are, and that's what gives blockchain the robustness that they have. So yeah, but in public blockchains, the transactions per second is a huge bottleneck. I don't know if you know how many of you have the number on your fingertips. You should have these numbers. The Bitcoin is like, every 10 minutes a block is done, and that's an average. Sometimes it can take 30 minutes, right? So you do not know how much time you need to wait. It can be 7 minutes, it can be 30 minutes as well. The average is 10 minutes. In Ethereum, every 15 seconds, 16 seconds, you would see that a block is generated. 15 to 19 seconds is the usual timing. Still, it takes some time. The transactions per second is low. It is pretty low. If you compare to any centralized fintech network, payments network, this is very, very slow. But yeah, that's a bottleneck. But yeah, people are building more and more on top of it to make it better. Bitcoin has now Lightning Network, which has been tried and tested, and it makes Bitcoin transactions much faster to some extent. Maybe not like Visa, of course, but yeah, to some extent. Ethereum has further other blockchains like L2 blockchains like Polygon, which is solving the gas problem and making things faster, right? So that's another thing. Private blockchains are very near to centralization, as I said earlier. They are less secure because you as an entity are having a private blockchain. So it's like you are still owning that blockchain, only that, yes, you are setting up individual nodes and writing it on the blockchain. You're just doing that for the use of, for showing that you're using blockchain, but more or less it's very less secure. You can still do anything with the blockchain, right? Because you control all the nodes. Then comes consortium blockchains, which is a mix of both. Consortium blockchains are, again, as I said in the very first thing, even on the agenda, before the agenda slide, I said, consortium blockchains are currently, if you're a new developer, you download some applications and tooling and start writing smart contracts, a high percentage chance would be that you would be working on public blockchains. Maybe 6 months from now, 1 year from now, if you join an organization which has a traditional business as well and are using blockchain technology, very high chance that you would be using something like a consortium blockchain, because everyone is not willing to go to public blockchains. What are these? They have characteristics of decentralized systems. They have additional options and additional features, such as you can make a transaction private. If I am a farmer and I'm doing a transaction with my bank, I can make it private so that any other bank does not get to see what did this bank offer me. All right. So that's kind of hiding even in a blockchain network. That's kind of, private in a blockchain network, but that's acceptable. Right. And then, but these are not as secure as public blockchains, but still quite secure, because essentially you are taking the bank, putting them as a node on your network. Such 5 banks could be there, 5 government entities could be there, and so on. And they are in their individual AWS or Azure or on-premise instances, and it's still pretty secure. The transaction throughput is very high. A blockchain like Quorum, which was built by JP Morgan and specifically for banking and finance purposes, JP Morgan is itself running a 400 bank and fintech network on Quorum blockchain. We are also using Quorum blockchain, in our company. Quorum has, I think, 200 transactions per second. Huge, right? As compared to Ethereum or Bitcoin, it's huge. Corda, which you must have heard about, R3 Corda has, I think, 6,400 some transactions per second. That's also pretty humongous. That's even faster than Visa. But then again, these are not global public networks. They have a different use case. right? You see on screen that you get slide on this, because as I said, you start with smart contracts, you start with Ethereum public chain, you start with Matic, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, and all these things. But someday you would be having to do these, and these would not be in your mind at that time. So just take a look at what these offer. Why did JP Morgan even take Ethereum, fork it, and create Quorum? Why did it do so? Because they wanted to provide certain features such as access privileges. As a permission network, you want to define access privileges as to which node can do what. What can a particular bank do? What all can a particular bank see, read, write? What can they do? Visibility and privacy, which transactions are visible to which stakeholders, where to store the data, where to store the transactions, which data to store on-chain, which data to store off-chain, hash it, and then store that hash on the chain, because you know that it might be a large file. It might be KYC documents. You don't store KYC documents directly on blockchain, right? Either you store it on an S3 bucket, hash it and put the hash, or you store it on an IPFS cluster, get a hash from IPFS, pin it, get a hash from IPFS, and store that hash. Either way, you decide that what is your kind of architecture that you own. And execution and mining does not work the same way. Miners do not get incentivized in terms of, like, for example, Bitcoin. If you mine a block, you get 6.25 Bitcoins in reward. That's a huge amount of Bitcoins. Same for Ethereum, you get reward in Ethers. But here in consortium or in enterprise blockchains, you do not get that. Miners just mine the blocks to make the network better, because their use case is different. Banks would not be a part of your consortium network to mine and earn from your mining. Try to understand this difference very clearly, right? If someone in an interview asks you, mining, what is mining? How do I get rewards in mining? If I'm a bank, what can I do? Do not please say that, yes, as a bank, if you mine the transaction, on every transaction, you would get 6.25 tokens of that network. That's useless, right? Because as an enterprise, your goal would be something else, to run your business in a transparent manner. Your goal would not, and earn from that business model, rather than earn from your own blockchain and you mine it and you earn rewards from there. That's illogical. Right? So that's a huge difference. And an example is like Raft. As you can see here, Raft is like POW, POS, proof of work. These are public blockchain consensus mechanisms usually used there. Raft is an example which you see in Corda, in Quorum, and so on. Right? So what kind of blockchain and innovation exists in integrations, and why can't you start using still at this point, you cannot start using blockchain for everything or cryptos for everything. So as you can see here, we were just discussing about the transaction speeds of Visa, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. Visa has an astounding transaction throughput of 1736 that they've achieved. This is one fine day they have achieved this, but their tech promises that they can go as high as 56,000 transactions per second. I mean, they have such a huge window, right? And so many people are using Visa at this moment, entire globe, right? Every day, so many transactions, 24/7. On the other hand, Bitcoin has an astoundingly low transaction throughput of 4.6 transactions per second, or maximum 6 or 7 transactions per second if your block is getting mined faster, right? Ethereum achieves roughly 15 transactions per second with a block time of 15 to 19 seconds or 10 to 19 seconds, right? So roughly that kind of throughput. If you compare Bitcoin and Visa, that's 380 times. That is why sometimes now, even till now, everyone cannot just go ahead and start accepting Bitcoins in a coffee shop or in a departmental store or anywhere else, where maybe you're standing in a queue and the shop uses Bitcoin now without any advancements like Lightning Network, etc. Right? Plain simple Bitcoin network, plain simple Bitcoin payments, wallet to wallet Bitcoin transfers, wallet to wallet Ether transfers. Why? Is because you may get your coffee, or the barista would know to give your coffee in 10 minutes or 40 minutes. They would not know, or 20 minutes, 17 minutes. Any kind of a wait time could be there. And it would be like, if you knew that, yes, it is going to be specifically 25 minutes, you would have placed your order, initiated the payment, gone to somewhere else, done something else, and you would have come back, right? And both the parties, the barista as well as you, would have known and been on the same page. But here, that is not the case. Here, you would have to wait for an X or N number of minutes, right? You don't know how much. That's why it is with this uncertainty, you cannot wait, and many of the shops cannot start accepting Bitcoin. But Lightning Network you can use, and a very beautiful example is El Salvador. If you read, or if you get a chance to go, hopefully not in these times, but yeah. If you go there, you'll see that Starbucks, right? Starbucks have started accepting Bitcoin Lightning Network payments. They give you they give you the receipt. They give you at the back of it, there's a lightning QR code. You scan it with your lightning Bitcoin wallet and you pay it immediately, and you pay via Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has become, as you know, a legal tender in El Salvador. And I think McDonald's has also started using it. Starbucks is sure short using it. So there are use cases, right? But not everyone is able to do that because of this throughput problem, right? Quick check on time. So we have next 14 minutes to close this. Okay, so what kind of thoughts can we go through, analyze them? Visa does one thing, that is peer-to-peer transactions. I mean, not peer-to-peer transactions, but you're paying to entities, you're paying to networks. That's all that you're doing. Visa does not have to run smart contracts. Visa does not have to handle nodes and things like that. It's a payment processing system owned by an organization, and you're using it as gateways, as payment point of sale systems, and so on. On the other hand, Bitcoin is not centralized. You remember the first slide that we saw? Bitcoin is a network which is decentralized. It has thousands and thousands and thousands of nodes across the world. So a transaction happening in Japan has to be communicated to the node sitting in San Francisco or India or Singapore, everywhere, after every single transaction, right? Or not every single transaction, but after a block of transactions, the entire block has to be propagated across all the nodes. It takes time, right? It takes time. And before that, to make it decentralized, you have to spend time as a miner to arrive at a solution, right? The proof of work problem that you need to solve. That's humongously time taking, right? So that's another thing that where Bitcoin differs from what Visa can do, or Visa needs to do, right? Ethereum, on the other hand, acts like Bitcoin in the terms of a cryptocurrency, Ether, right? You send, just like you send Bitcoin, you pay via Bitcoin, you receive Bitcoins, you do the same for Ethers, right? And plus you receive such payments on every other token that is built on the Ethereum network, unless you're an L2 like Matic is handling your transactions. If you're doing on a token which is directly on the Ethereum network, like if you go to Binance, you want to transfer even Binance coin, or you want to transfer USDC, USDT, and you choose the network Ethereum, which means you're still doing it on the L1 network, the level 1 Ethereum network. All such transactions in other tokens, all such transactions in Ether itself. And every time you run a single smart contract with even just 1 or 2 or 3 lines, that is also a new transaction on the Ethereum network. All of these things, the entire burden of all of these things, that's a substantial data exchange and throughput that has to be taken care of by Ethereum. That's a humongous thing that Ethereum does. Ethereum brought on second generation of blockchain. So first generation came with Bitcoin, just currency. Second, you can run code on Bitcoin, but it's not very popular and not a lot of things you can do. Ethereum brought on smart contracts, which changed the world. Not only the blockchain world, it just did not bring the second generation of blockchain technology, it changed the world, right? The way you're seeing NFTs, you're seeing DeFi, ICOs, IDOs, IEOs, anything that you want to see. Everything is based on smart contracts, which is you're going to study, you're going to start writing smart contracts in the next couple of sessions in this series, in this blockchain beginner series, right? So that's what Ethereum has the burden to do. Right towards the end, let's discuss. So I have this, and then the career opportunities, and then we would be good to close. So we last have 10 minutes, 11 minutes. We will be good to close there. I think I have gone very fast today, but I hope you've taken some screenshots in between, and then I think this would be available on the YouTube channel as well. Plus, you can take my presentation entirely. So I don't believe that pace should be a huge issue. So use case one example is supply chain management, and you can read about it at the end. I have given some links to, good case studies such as Nescafe, then Myers, all of whom have used blockchain technology to do wonders, right? And proper organizations, proper names in the industry, they have completely changed their, entire supply chain or entire, their entire, shipping supply chain and all, and put it on the blockchain. Of course, not public blockchain. Most of these have used permission blockchains like Corda or Quorum, etc. So supply chain management is one good use case that you can see that how companies like Nescafe are creating separate nodes on their blockchain network, and they are like supplier is a node, the manufacturer, the distributor, everyone is a node, and then the information flow is seamless, right? And they're doing it for their end. They have made their entire coffee supply chain on blockchain using IBM, with the help of IBM and with the help of AWS, Amazon. Another good use case is where Accenture researched that insurance can be done on blockchain. Phenomenal use case. And they have come out that around $100 million on average, right? Starting from 100 to around, $250, $270 million is the savings annually you can have by the third year of your usage of blockchain technology. Massive savings. Why? Because everything is transparent. Insurance industry is accused of not being transparent. If you make things transparent and seamless, both the sides of the ecosystem will benefit heavily. And of course, as you can see here on the right, it's not just putting data on the blockchain network. What kind of data are you putting? Is it like, if your vehicle is facing an accident, your vehicle has certain, your vehicle has certain sensors, they can push data directly to the blockchain network. There are many types of nodes. These individual RFIDs or, sensors can be nodes themselves, like very light nodes themselves, right? The Raspberry Pi they can be connected to can act as nodes, very small, light partial nodes as well. This is something that people can easily build. Then blockchain in agriculture. This is one of my own use cases where a lot of frauds were happening. We replaced it with blockchain technology, and now banks are coming on the blockchain network in order to prevent such scams and scandals from happening. Big names, Citibank, Standard Chartered, ICICI, all of them have faced frauds in this segment, in commodity finance specifically, and that's why this is also a big use case. Right? I see 15 questions. I will keep the 15 minutes for that for sure. We'll be closing off in the next 7-8 minutes. So what are career pathways? What career pathways are there to explore, to understand that what you can do going forward and what you should learn, right? What you can do to make sure that you are, do you know something in India itself? I don't know about the world number right now, but just taking an example of India, which is a pretty big country in terms of population, and especially population who are becoming engineers and developers and IT engineers specifically. We export billions of dollars of IT services. I hope you all know. In India, the competition of blockchain engineers is currently 0.25%, right? So 0.25% of all engineers who are available at any point in time are people who know blockchain or are able to write code. So just imagine, just compare that with any other, any other technology like cloud, Java, Python, and all. Just imagine that what kind of competition you would have there, right? In that, maybe 300 out of 400 people would be knowing Python or Java. Here, 1 out of 400 knows blockchain, or maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe odds have improved in the last 6, 7, 8 months, right? So that's a good way to get started into blockchain technology, right? All right. So building a career in blockchain technology, I am going through very basics. This is exactly, just touching on the pointers. You can take a screenshot right now or just wait for the YouTube video later on. You can start learning blockchain technology from here. If you do not have a computer science basic, it is fine. Just brush up, right? Just try to understand that when you're writing smart contracts someday, what is the kind of data types that you're declaring or defining in Solidity, right? What do they mean? Basics of computer science would tell you that an unsigned integer, what kind of maximum and minimum values can it have? If it's 256 bits, then what? Then humongous, right? If it's just 8 bits, then you would know that, okay, as an unsigned integer, I would be able to keep between 0 to 255 numbers only. You know that, right? So that you basics, these are very basics. Even if you don't have a computer science background, searching it on the Google would give you the answer. So that's something that, you should make yourself a bit clear. Linked list, right? It's going to be very familiar with how blockchains work. Get an idea. Right? So yeah, basics of computer science. And then you delve into blockchain technology basics, right? Consensus mechanisms, which we could not cover in depth today, but yeah, there are larger courses which help you do that. Very simple courses, very easy to take courses, right? Then what are the kind of tools that you can use? What are smart contracts? How do they work? What are the data types? What are the default values in data types, in these data types? Then, how can you call a particular network? How can you change the network? What is MetaMask? How can you use MetaMask in your browser, and so on? So there are so many things that you can explore. Understand decentralization, which I believe I've been able to explain today. Out of all these 100 people, maybe many of you knew what decentralization and blockchain is. Maybe many of you have even started coding smart contracts, but did not know where did this come from? Where did it start in 2009 with Satoshi writing the Bitcoin white paper, blockchain white paper, right? So that's something that you start learning, that, basics of blockchain technology. Significantly different. I have taught PhDs who have done their PhD in computer science and engineering. So they are supposed to know everything in computer science, right? Most of it. But they have struggled. I've seen, I'm not a PhD in computer science. So they are much better than me in CS. But I have seen them struggle in certain concepts of consensus mechanisms or concepts of decentralization. And why are we doing something? How are we doing something? Why? Because what they have learned for years in their computer science background, it's it's significantly different here. Strange concepts, strange, weird concepts, which are not very settling well with people with a strong computer science background. Maybe others are able to understand it much better, right? Because they are more flexible. They're learning it from scratch. Okay, so then comes basics of blockchain. Then comes tools like Truffle, Web3, right? Web3, you want to write Web3 APIs. Truffle, you want to use as a suite for testing your smart contracts, writing smart contracts. Ganesh, propping up an entire, blockchain on your local host with 10 different accounts, 100 ethers each for you to test. They go off and you close Ganesh and later again started. So yeah, so this is the kind of tools. Hard Hat does the same thing, and I think Austin would be showing you Hard Hat in his session, which is the next to next session. So Hard Hat is something that is just like Truffle and Ganesh, but yeah, it does it. It's for JavaScript, and it's beautiful as well. It's a great tool. MetaMask, your wallet, your in-browser wallet, which can make your Web 2 browser like Chrome, like Firefox, immediately be Web 3 browser, talk to blockchain networks, right? So you need MetaMask to talk to all these applications. You want to visit Aave, you want to lend on Aave, you want to lend on our platform, Brú Finance, you want to use Compound Finance, anything that you want to do. If it's a dApp, if it's a decentralized technology, it's a decentralized application, you need something like MetaMask or any other such tool to communicate with the blockchain network via your plain old Web 2.0 browser. Right? And then comes learning languages like Solidity or anything else. You want to learn Rust from scratch, go ahead, learn Rust, start development on Solana. It has also a great use case, but yeah, Solidity is pretty famous, as you would know. If you write a smart contract in Solidity, you can deploy it on the Ethereum network. You can deploy it on an L2 like Matic, on Binance Smart Chain. You can deploy it even on a Quorum network, because all these are forks of the Ethereum virtual machine. And then once you know Solidity, you write smart contracts for everyday use cases. You create multi-sig wallets, right? Quickly, easily, burner wallets, all these things. You do a lot of things on the blockchain. You then push them onto the mainnet and see how it works once you're very confident, and use them to build fully packaged ecosystems and decentralized applications, an entire DeFi platform, an entire DEX, right? Decentralized exchange. All of these things. Or best is, you can just, once you learn to write these things, what you can do is you can just go and fork any other project, because everything is open in the blockchain world. Web 3.0 is all about openness, right? So if you can just go and visit any of the projects like Aave and all, you would see that their code is out in the open. You can just fork their repo and start tinkering with the smart contracts that they have written, run it locally and see how it works. Right. So yeah. And follow people, right? Follow people on Twitter, and basically Twitter is good. Discord, join Discord groups of multiple projects. Learn, right? It's not just, if you join Discord groups, it would have to be only about trading and cryptocurrencies and all. If you join a Discord group, and that's of a like Polygon's Discord group, or even our Discord group, the talks are about building, right? People are builders there. People are not traders there. We usually, even people, who are traders and join our group and just put, this coin is going up, this coin is going down, we usually take a few minutes to kick them out. It's a community of builders now, because it's very quick to become a builder here, and then you can do great stuff. Right? Even follow me on Twitter maybe, and you'll see I post about the openness of Web 3.0 and all the other things that we are doing, either ourselves in-house or what the entire world is doing. Because again, it's not about the brand that you follow. Web 3 as a whole, it's great, right? Just go for Web 3.0, and I think that you would be very, very happy if you come from a Web 2.0 world. So this is your laundry list of items that you can go through. Keep in mind, take a screenshot that, yes, these are all the things that I have to learn. You can see that Solidity comes here. So you're definitely learning Solidity and dApp development, but all the other pointers will form the base, the foundation. Tomorrow, you move from being a freelancer to a full-time employee at an organization, which has a traditional business as well. These will come in your interview, right? We won't only ask you, what is uint and what is int and how to deploy Matic and Ethereum and all. We would ask you how to set up a node, how to set up an Ethereum blockchain from scratch, how to set up a Quorum blockchain from scratch, right? How to add a node, how to delete a node, how to change permissions of a node, right? So what do you think that if you want to work for Amazon in their blockchain, unit, which handles the managed blockchain service of AWS, you would have to know these. They are not concerned with public blockchains much. They are concerned with permission blockchains really, really much, where people, organizations, and enterprises would build on their managed blockchain service, right? So there are many use cases like that. So at the end, you should be able to see the bigger picture, not going much into this. We are at 10:30 here at my time. My time is over for speaking. This is the time I listen and I take up questions. So that's it. Yeah, quick look. These are the journey pathways that you can take up. You can be a core blockchain developer, who works on networks as well, nodes as well. You can be a smart contracts guy. You can be a DevOps guy, who is only working on networks. You can be okay, the slide did not change. Yeah, okay. You can be a product manager. If you come from a Web2 product management job, it would be seamless for you to come here. Just start using blockchain products. Do not use PayPal and Paytm and all these applications, right? Or your banking application, and then apply for a job in product management in blockchain products, because things are a bit different here. You would not understand that, what parallelism exists in both these worlds. You'll find it difficult to build for this world, or to ideate in this world, right? And then you can be a designer, an analyst, an operations guy. See, these are full-fledged companies. We are a core blockchain company working in permissioned and public blockchains, right? But that does not mean that we do not have a marketing guy. Does not mean that we do not have a growth hacker, a community manager, a DevOps guy, an operations guy, right? A designer, product manager, all of these things we still need, right? So yeah, you have a lot of opportunities there at the end. So yeah, that's it. I'm done. Hema, I can take questions if you need to help me. This is a feedback form. Maybe you can fill up. This is a very small feedback form, apart from, of course, giving Hema a feedback on the chat as well. So yeah, any questions now? Two things. I'll be putting these resources here, or I'll just be sending the presentation later on to Hema. She can put it on the Slack group, and you'll have access to this. Few very good resources to get started. Right, this 16-hour course is by Patrick Collins. He's a developer evangelist at Chainlink. Beautiful course, 16-hour long course. If you're into Python, then you'll find it very, very good. And others are very, initial things to start with, right? These are good resources for you to get started into blockchain technology. 1 hour of me could not cover everything that is there, but these will, right? Patrick does it in this 16-hour course video. Yeah, one thing I would love to add here, which I don't need to, because Austin Griffith is anyways going to do it two classes later. Check out his videos, beautiful videos. I suggest my own, my colleagues, my teammates, to go through some of his videos when we are building something specific, and especially if you're using Scaffold ETH or any of the tools that he has built, right? Or especially if you want to do hard hat. So I would have added that to this list as well. It has missed out. So yeah, you can take these, and two good resources you can go through. One is a Harvard Business Review case study on Meyer's use of blockchain, and one is, of course, Nestle's use of blockchain for their coffee supply chain. That's it. These are my credentials, guys. Feel free to reach out. I'm on Twitter. I'm on, this is our website. Yeah, details are there. Hema, I'm free to take questions, and I think we have around 13 minutes to take so.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. The PPT will be shared on the Slack channel for also, and will be uploaded on the YouTube as well. So you can, don't worry, you will get the slides. So we can answer a few questions, all the questions actually. Where we can study blockchain developing for healthcare step by step. The first question was.
Okay, for healthcare step by step. Okay, I've just put the feedback link here as well. Okay, thanks guys. Thank you so much for your. Oh, I can see many comments now. Yeah, thanks guys. Thank you so much. Please take your 10 seconds, fill my feedback form. This is the one that I shared, the very small 10-second feedback form. This I keep for my later, use, what to improve. Okay, for healthcare, there is nothing specific for healthcare. What you should do is, my book is coming on published by Springer, which should be out by Q2 2022. That book Springer is publishing on healthcare, blockchain, use of blockchain in healthcare. But yeah, that's far away, and I'm not advertising that. If you want to do it now, what you can do is you can learn blockchain technology from scratch using the resources that I've shared just in a couple of slides before, and then see use cases. It's not like you'll study healthcare blockchain, you study blockchain, you ideate, you get the understanding how I will use blockchain into maybe 100 different use cases. And then you go to a healthcare case study, you see that, okay, so healthcare. So yeah, even COVID vaccine trials, I think in one of the use cases was done using blockchain. See how they've done that. It could be a use case that you want to try. Similarly, healthcare has so many use cases, and people have done, I have an entire chapter in my book, which is coming up, which is on use of, blockchain technology for your EHRs, electronic health records, and how you can make sure that something is visible to only a particular doctor whose wallet you would be, using to sign that particular thing, and so on. So yeah, use cases are very core, but yeah, you can see that what others have done on in healthcare. I hope that I answered that question. Yes, Hema, next. I am so confused with so many questions. Yes, please take a pick.
When will the consensus process happen, like a batch process?
Perfect. Very good question. This is what I wanted to cover, but lack of time. So yeah, what happens, guys, is that, essentially, just 1 second. Yeah. So what happens is that when you just initiate a transaction, right? I send you 1 Ether from my wallet to Hema's wallet, right? I do that. It does not go there, right? Immediately. It goes to a temporary storage called mempool. And you can see mempool. You can see what transactions, you can just go to etherscan.io or just search for Etherscan, Ethereum Explorer, and you will see that there's a mempool. Bitcoin, you will see that there's a mempool. The transaction first sits there. Then it's picked by the miners who are mining, who are going to use the consensus mechanism to do that. They are picked by the miners in any order, like usually based on what transaction fee you give. Then the mining happens. And then, a batch of transactions. See, I am a miner, you are a miner. My block of transactions or batch of transactions can be different from the block of transactions you picked, right? It can be different. It can be pretty randomized. If I win, if I'm the one to solve that consensus mechanism challenge first, if it's proof of work, if it's proof of stake, there are different algorithms. If I win, then my block of transactions or my batch of transactions would go and get added to the Ethereum blockchain as the next block, and the block height will be incremented, right? And when that happens, you can easily, that is when you can go online, Etherscan, and check that, yes, my 1 Ether transaction to Hema has been successful, and now Hema can see it in her wallet. So that's when the consensus mechanism comes into play. Yes.
The next question is Padmaja. I guess she should, I guess, explain more. This happens through the blockchain software automatically, or people have been managing the nodes and taking care of the transition cycle manually?
Okay, automatically. Organizations have written, entire teams have written protocols. The Bitcoin CLI, the Bitcoin client, is a protocol. It has all the protocol rules and everything written into it. And then you install that Bitcoin CLI, then connect to the Bitcoin network. So the entire network is able to recognize, it's all computers, right? It's able to recognize your node as your computer as a node. And now whenever a transaction comes, your computer is automatically having all those protocol. It knows that as a node what it needs to do. Right? So you do it via that client. Same for Ethereum. Visit ethereum.org, download the Geth client and connect to the mainnet. It is the protocol. So the protocol is written, which is used to connect to the network. And then they do the consensus mechanism based on the rules written in it. And I think she has also asked that if blockchain transactions are irreversible, how do we cancel a transaction with mutual consent? There is no, you can, if I send 1 Ether to Hema and we both want to cancel it, she has to send that 1 Ether back. And in that process, I have to pay a transaction fee, she has to pay transaction fee, right? You cannot go back and these are two different transactions. In blockchain, what happens is sometimes even, in our case, we deal with warehouses and farmers and banks, right? They're not very educated people and they do these things incorrectly. There's an entire process that we have to follow to nullify that transaction later by doing another transaction, not by right click and deleting that transaction or something else. So there's nothing called mutual consent there. It's immutable. The keyword is immutable. I hope I've answered your question, Padma. Yes, Hema.
Yeah. Padmaja, I also have one question. Can blockchain replace conventional banking with access to savings and fixed deposit and loans type of services?
Yeah, so how it is doing is by introducing a completely new segment of decentralized finance, because then you'll have to replace banks, right? So in DeFi, you can have savings accounts, right? There are so many platforms who have built these financial and much more sophisticated financial products, right? That you get a lot of yield on it. What does a savings account give you? 7-8% of interest per annum. Here, DeFi platforms can give you much more interest because the way, disintermediated way they work in. Yes, replacement is definitely possible and coming. Yeah.
Okay. One person asked, who are the people in the network for DLT?
Who are the people in the network for?
DLT, distributed ledger technology.
Okay, I did not answer that. I did not understand that question, that people in the network for DLT, it would be like, whoever wants to be a part. So if it's a permission network, it would be like, in our case, we add banks on the network and then we ask them to, we add them as a node and then they process their transactions just like they would in a non-blockchain world. So they are the people.
Okay,
whoever
if the
are stakeholders.
Right, then you can ask the question again if your question is not answered properly. Could you point out the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Yeah, Bitcoin generation 1 blockchain, mostly used 99% times it is used as a cryptocurrency, right? And just as a cryptocurrency. So you transfer, you send and receive Bitcoin. Excuse me. On Ethereum, you do that You send and receive Ether, you pay for things with Ether, and you run smart contracts, and you launch tokens, and you launch decentralized finance platforms, and you do 100 different things that you see everywhere else. Your NFTs, they are on Ethereum or on an L2 blockchain like Polygon or any other blockchain. But Ethereum got this in 2015. Ethereum brought generation 2 of blockchain, which had smart contracts, and it changed everything. So yeah, that's the difference.
Okay. A merchant needs a bank for sending money from customer to him, but with blockchain, a customer can send money to merchant directly. Then how bank will survive, considering a peer-to-business playing a major profit for banks?
Yeah, so that's right. That's very right. So blockchain is all about P2P, peer-to-peer transactions. You do not need a third party. So a keyword here also, when we teach blockchain, is that forget third parties in between, because you can do it, I can do it, directly 1:1. That's a sad news for blockchain. As for banks, so banks are now evaluating ways to do things involving cryptocurrencies rather than saying no to it, which they used to do earlier. Banks like Axis Bank, then banks outside as well, outside India as well. They are trying to use things like Ripple, right? Currencies like Ripple to do cross-border payments rather than being stiff, rigid, and not using Ripple, and rather continuing to use Swift. Where if you've received any money from outside using Swift, which is the global network, you would have seen that a huge percentage has been deducted and you receive a less percentage, right? Way less. In blockchain, that does not happen. There's a very specific transaction fee that you pay, and that's it, right? Sometimes that goes very high, like in Ethereum right now, gas fee is huge, but still it's manageable. So yeah, so banks are now trying to bring more models so that they can survive. Otherwise, they would become the Nokia, right? So yeah, so that's something they have to do.
Would you say decentralized finance is also an application of blockchain like crypto?
100%, yes. That's like NFT is an application, like ICOs are an application. Back then there were DeFi is the next big thing, touted as the next big thing in blockchain technology, purely an implementation of blockchain technology, nothing else.
If Bitcoin is immutable, as you mentioned, it is. So how to regulations like GDPR compliance?
Yeah, GDPR comes as a bit of a problem here. And, for example, if any law has it in it that, there's a right to forget for the customer, that cannot happen in blockchain, right? Yeah, there is a method to handle it, like we do, even though we don't have to be GDPR compliant here in India. But what we do is we do not store any PII or personally identifiable information of the farmer or any borrower on the blockchain. That is only stored on the database, so that 3 years later, if a law comes in India that yes, you have to give the customer a right to forget, we can just go to the database, write a script that yes, delete every person's name and email and phone number from the database, which are 3 years and older, right? But we cannot do that from blockchain. So yeah, if you're pushing data such like that to blockchain, you can never forget, because that's what blockchain is all about. You cannot never delete from blockchain, right? So you have to try different ways and figure out ways so that you can manage it. But yeah, many people are now managing this way, like using a combination of legacy technology and blockchain to manage and manage these compliances.
Okay, this is my question. So do you think that European Union companies are doing that because they have to be GDPR compliant?
Yeah, I believe they're doing so. Yes, I don't have a use case right now in mind, but I believe they're doing so. In fact, many, like for example, University of Nicosia, they are the first university to give an entire master's degree like in blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, digital currencies. They were the first in the world to do so. They have, I have attended even their lectures, very frequently, as how to do this and that, which included, they are an EU company, so an EU organization, university. So they have been doing this in GDPR compliant networks and transactions and all. But you need to check how they do it exactly.
Okay. Is it economical if we rent cloud sources for mining rather than standalone?
No, it is not economical. Yeah. For mining to be economical, and that it completely depends. So I would not like to give such a direct answer, because mining, I don't do mining, but it depends on the blockchain. If you want to mine Bitcoin, you are going to have to, set up a farm or be a part of an entire different mining farm, because it has gone out of your hands, right? Just visit any Bitcoin blockchain explorer, see the terahash is required at this point in time. It is beyond the capacity of many people, right? So you either, set up one of those farms, or it's difficult. But some coins can definitely be mined even on your computer just for learning purposes. But yeah, that's most I can answer here.
Does every blockchain implement a consensus algorithm to create and validate a block? If yes, is there any minimum number of nodes required?
Yeah, very good question. I think this is a very technical question, whoever has asked this. So guys, every blockchain is running on a consensus mechanism. The whole point that it is not a centralized system is that it's a group of nodes, which means that, see, two friends, it takes such a pain sometimes between two best friends to arrive at a consensus on something, right? Something very, very small, minimal, right? So just imagine we're talking about hundreds and tens and thousands of nodes coming at a consensus. So they have to be on a consensus mechanism. The mechanism differs based on the blockchain that you are using or doing, right? So yeah, whatever it is. So if it's, for example, if it's a Raft network, like we do Quorum blockchain using Raft consensus mechanism, there is a minimum number of node, which is given by a formula called 2f-1, where, you know, this many nodes have to be there, otherwise it won't work. So 2f-1 means that f number of faulty nodes I can have. So if I have three nodes, I still need to have 2 into faulty nodes. If I have one faulty node, so I still need to have 2f-1 nodes active remaining, so that my blockchain still works. So it is different for other blockchains as well. If it's a BFT or Byzantine fault tolerance, then it's a 3f-1 blockchain. So yeah, you can learn about this, but yes, there are minimum nodes for based on what kind of consensus mechanism you use.
Deepak has also asked this question: Are consortium blockchains enabled to interact with each other for cross-entity transactions?
Okay, consortium blockchains, it's a bit, I won't say it's difficult, but it's lengthy, because you need to make sure that all stakeholders come on the same platform, but integrations are 100% possible. Nowadays, multi-chain is not only just in public blockchains, it is very much in permission blockchains as well. If you have a use case and if your stakeholders agree, writing code to make that happen, writing code to make the network change happen is not a difficult task. But yeah, it is very specific based on the specific use case, like if you're in finance or supply chain or healthcare, and if your stakeholders want to do that or not.
Okay. Why consortium blockchain is not secure as public blockchain?
Yeah, because first of all, there is one thumb rule which I always teach. With I write it in a big font on a slide. In blockchain, always remember the thumb rule is the more the merrier. So the more number of nodes that you have in a blockchain network, it is always the best, right? So why is Bitcoin so robust and unhackable, right? It is because it has thousands and thousands of nodes. How many nodes are you going to collude with to hack the Bitcoin network? Impossible, practically. Theoretically, everything is possible, right? But practically it is impossible. But if it's just 2 nodes, 3 nodes, 4 nodes, the thing becomes easier, right? Still, it's very, very difficult. It's like 2 banks will not collude, right? Why would they? Still, if they have a choice to do so. Right. So yeah, that's the point. That's where the less number of nodes, it's not very secure.
If the size of blockchain network grows, won't each transaction take still longer because each node has to process it?
Yeah. So that's right, and that's what many of these public blockchains, especially, are also facing. Even our permission blockchain, I think, as of today, we are having around 140k nodes, right? So sorry, not nodes, 140k blocks, right? And it's going increasing day by day. Now, what happens is, you have to understand that what happens is that when these things happen, you have to manage it in different manner. That is why you don't put every kind of data on the blockchain. As I was sharing earlier, if it's a KYC document, you don't put it on the blockchain, right? You put it on an S3 bucket and hash it like using any algorithm, and then store that hash on the blockchain, or you use IPFS and then store it. So these combinations you should use, but everyone is struggling. And that is why, today Ethereum network might be 250, 300 GBs. Tomorrow it would be 500, then 1 TB and so on. For how much long full nodes would be able to keep up, right? So then after that, what you do is, as a node, if your blockchain is very big, so you don't connect as a full node, you connect as a partial node. It just keeps a copy, maybe 100 MBs of blocks, right? So yeah, these are the methods that you try to make sure to manage that.
Okay. We have 2 similar questions. Can you suggest any proper course or bootcamp to become a blockchain developer? And somewhat a similar question is, what is the most ordered and step-by-step way for learning blockchain?
Oh, that's great. That's a very good question. So first of all, what you can do is attend any of such lectures, right? Be on the lookout. See, whatever you learn from these lectures is like tidbits, but you will get a lot of information, right? So take a look at, be on the lookout for women who code blockchain doing these things, other Ethereum and all, their developers also do these things, right? See Austin, right? Austin, again, I'm taking the name because he's a great guy, right? So he's doing his lecture 2 sessions later, right? He's also a developer with Ethereum and then Build Guild and so on, right? So he keeps on doing these YouTube videos. Search him, right? Then I shared with you Patrick Collins, Chainlink. He has an entire course. He is such an energetic blockchain educator. I love him, right? So just see their courses on YouTube. You'll find some good people. Just see their reviews. And these are a few of the names that I found to be very, very good. I suggest them to my own teammates. Sometimes I also take such lectures, right, at universities and all. Universities have started coming out. The best part is many colleges and universities and institutions have started coming out with their own blockchain courses. So if you're not into YouTube studying and Medium article reading, you can look out for university courses in India and abroad and everywhere else that, who are coming up with good courses, right? And just learn from them if you want a very structured learning. So back in 2016-17, to be very honest, resources were very less. But today, all across from universities to open source YouTube channels to Medium publications, there are so many avenues to learn blockchain. And how you should learn blockchain is, as I showed you a laundry list of items, right? Just go through them or follow any other course and they'll go through the same process as well, right? So yeah, so that's where you can learn. Or you can just reach out, follow on Twitter, right? Just follow on Twitter, and I keep on publishing these things, right? Others keep on publishing these things. I'll put my Twitter here. Follow and see that what you can make out of the conversations that you have on Twitter, right? I'll do that. Yes, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, either you can also follow Women Who Code blockchain community as well. What's a possible path for a front-end engineer in blockchain?
Yeah, like I said, just some time back, I showed you in the pathways. You have every company needs all those people as well. Not every blockchain company needs only blockchain people, right? So everything that you see on the internet is the front end that you interact with, right? So either you are a front end developer, you want to become a full stack developer, be that and start building the React or the Angular based front ends and business logic that's needed with smart contracts at the back end, right? So as a front end or full stack developer, what scope you have in a non-blockchain organization, you have the same scope in a blockchain organization as well. Just understand, but interact with blockchain organization so that your thought process changes. That as a front end guy, what kind of interfaces do common blockchain applications nowadays have, right? So see their websites. You'll see that there's an entire different pattern of websites that blockchain dApps have. So you'll understand that. But yeah, scope is huge. I'm loving this question. So I think we can, if you can extend the time, Hema, I think I can take as many questions as you want. I think
we can extend. Right? We have 55 participants. I guess the questions.
Let's go. I'm loving these questions. Let's go.
Is cryptocurrency a bubble or?
Is cryptocurrency
a bubble?
Oh yeah. So that's a very difficult question. See, there are many use cases, guys, right? So many use cases. Not every cryptocurrency, some cryptocurrency might be very scammy cryptocurrency, right? So it depends on your research on those cryptocurrencies. I don't think it is a bubble because Bitcoin has pretty much shown its strength, right? To only go higher and higher and still be it's volatile, but on a long run and on a larger scale, it is still so stable, right? Did you, since the last 2-3 years, did you see Bitcoin on $7,000 a piece or $7 a piece ever? No, right? So yeah, it's pretty much, and there are so many use cases, right? If your coin or if your cryptocurrency is very much like Polygon, why is Matic coin growing and growing? Because it has so many use cases. dApps are being built, right? Entire ecosystems are being built. So make sure that you do not talk about cryptocurrency as a whole. Rather, what you should do is you talk about what kind of cryptocurrencies are you talking about? What is the project behind it? Yeah, so that's it.
In consortium blockchains, if the miners are not incentivized through crypto, how are they compensated for the mining cost?
In consortium, then the mining cost is not that much, no. As if you're a miner on a Bitcoin network, it's huge, right, in investment. But on the other hand, if you're a miner on our consortium network, you're not doing anything for that. You don't need proper ASICs or application-specific integrated circuits, which you do for Bitcoin and Ethereum and others. You don't need here. You're mining with your AWS application, right? And the protocol is different. In Bitcoin, the proof of work, your whole premise is that you are doing hit and trial 1,000,000 times to arrive at an answer. You are using computation, you're using electricity to do that. In our case, the entire consensus mechanism is different. The protocol is different. The rules are different. You don't do that, right? There's a leader and follower selection mechanism which happens, and automatically a mining is done and the block gets added. You don't spend resources in such a network. If you read, you'll understand that these are all very different kinds of consensus mechanisms. That's why consensus mechanisms is a very important topic in blockchain. Yeah.
Is there any chance of failure? If yes, how blockchain will handle it? This is Rahul. Can you explain more?
Yeah, okay. I think failure means, if a node fails, as I said earlier, if a node fails, till the time the last node is still alive, your blockchain network is alive, right? Other than that, if there are any other failures I don't know about, I may not be able to answer. Was that the question?
I guess I'm not sure. Rahul, can you type it again? Which kind of failure you are asking? I guess he has asked, is it possible to apply ML algorithms on data on blockchain to find pattern for business prediction?
Check out. I think Covalent does this. I don't know if they do ML and AI and stuff, but yeah, what happens is that that's the best thing that you can do here, guys. Public blockchains, the point about public blockchains is that the data is out in the public. So you don't even need any other tools or any other special permissions. What you can simply do is you can just take the data from the public network, do any kind of ML and AI you want to do, and put out your results, make graphs, publish graphs. Covalent does this. They analyze data on the public blockchains, right? Many other names I'm not getting, but many people do this, right? So it's out in the open. It's a very good area to try these out. So yeah.
Can you recommend any decentralized finance banking website for savings, like you mentioned earlier?
So not specifically about the product such as savings, but yeah, you can try out Aave, you can try out Compound Finance, you can try out some days once we go on mainnet, you can also try out Brú Finance, the website that's on the screen here at the end. And you can pretty much, yeah, all of them allow you to just lend money and then take yield out of it, which is like a savings account only, kind of. Yeah.
How anti-money laundering is taken care of?
With KYC. Not every blockchain can do that, so that's why people who run it usually do it with KYC. Nowadays, if you are registering on a centralized exchange, you most probably would have to do KYC, right? So that's the same old way. There's no other new way to do that. Yeah, people are coming up with technologies such as decentralized ID or DID. That's a different ballgame altogether, not live across all projects yet. So you do it the old way. You do KYC of the customer, or you make them fill the AML requirements. Yeah.
Does anyone governs miners?
The protocol does. No one else. So the protocol is the king here, right? So you don't have like Axis Bank governing its employees, right? This is an entire decentralized network. If anyone does anything wrong, all other nodes will immediately point that out, that hey, your node is not matching us, your ledger is not matching, and you'll be kicked out. That's the government. That's the governing part that's there.
Okay. One has asked in the chat section that he's working in a government sector and not having prior knowledge in the programming or coding. Will I learn blockchain from scratch to code for smart?
I have a brilliant answer here. Today itself, just before coming on this session, just half an hour before coming on this session, I have interviewed a person for around 1 hour. That person, just listen to me carefully and take this as a direct use case that you can do from tonight itself, wherever you are based out of. I was interviewing him. Do you know what his background was? He was a business development manager, right? He was a business development manager whole his career, 3-4 years. Since 2021, right? Just 6, 7, 8 months back, he has gotten into Solidity. He has left his business. I don't know how this change occurred, but he has gotten into Solidity and contracts and open libraries and so on. And today he's interviewing for us, and he has really good knowledge of blockchain technology. He knows decentralized finance. He knows how to he knows his way across smart contracts, how to work with other frameworks and hard hat and everything. He knows that. 6 months, 8 months back, he was a business development manager who had not written a single line of code in his entire life. He did not even do computer science engineering, right? I think he's a better developer than me, because I don't code on a very regular basis, in my team. But maybe he's doing that, right? But he was a BD guy, right? So I think that answers your question. Anyone here who's like that or anywhere like that, even if not a coder, I think by the end of this entire series with women who code blockchain, and maybe a couple of months more, and you will write to me on Twitter that, hey, now I am writing smart contracts. Here is my GitHub repo. Please check if there are any opportunities. I can guarantee that to you. And please do so, guys. Whoever is here, 48 lucky people, if you are into blockchain already, if you need internships, we are giving internships. We are giving full-time opportunities. Just reach out. Credentials are on the screen since the last half an hour. Yes, I hope I've answered that question, right? All the best.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you also. Yeah, great. Healthcare sector is using blockchain for securing their medical records. Can you explain how that works? Is it possible to upload medical record to IPFS or P2P? How will they handle if the file size is too large?
Yeah, I can see the question. So I think I have kind of answered that question. So yes, you can upload all these records on blockchain. Not many times they're not every time they're very large. And IPFS and P2P you can do, or you can store somewhere else, use the hash. So many techniques you can use. And to explain how that works, it will take a lot of time. So I'll skip that. As I said, it's an entire chapter in my book is about EHRs on blockchain, right? And how we do that, how you can make sure that your wallet, doctor's wallet, and all of those interact in a multi-sig environment kind of a thing. So it's a long answer, but yes, it is possible. Maybe we can connect separately on Twitter or somewhere else. But yeah, it's a long answer. But yeah, it's possible. People are doing that. People have done entire vaccine trials, COVID vaccine trials on blockchain, and maintaining patient records on blockchain. People are doing that. Just search and you'll get a lot of such use cases, live use cases. Yes.
There are so many blockchain attacks, 51% Eclipse and others. Are these all just in theory, or have they actually happened before?
Ethereum Classic has faced a 51% attack, if I'm not wrong. I think 1.5 2 years back. Blockchains do face. That is why there is one thumb rule: the more the merrier. If you have more number of nodes in the blockchain network, it is going to go impossible to make this happen. So whichever networks have faced it when they had less number of nodes, and then it is very, very possible. But yeah, still, again, it's all decentralized, right? The other nodes can still make sure that so somehow the blockchain is again kicked back up. So yeah, it is a very subjective thing. It's not that 100% of 50% attack has been successful, but attempt has been done. Some success has been achieved. Some losses have happened, and these things keep on happening. It's not just theory, but in the case of Bitcoin, I can tell that it's just theory. You cannot do 51% on Bitcoin. Not possible. Even if you're the world's richest person and applying every resource in Bitcoin, once you do that, the entire blockchain would render useless, and you will still lose the money. So yeah, it does not work that way. It's theoretical in cases of such big networks.
What is ERC20 token and how it is related to blockchain?
Right. So ERC20 token is a cryptocurrency standard, is a token standard on Ethereum. So basically use Ethereum and you deploy your token on Ethereum network. So it just like Ether acts as a cryptocurrency of native Ethereum, your token also works on Ethereum network, and you can use it, transfer it to anyone. You can do ICO on it. And every token that you see, Matic is also an ERC20 token. Open WazirX, Open Binance, 95% tokens that you see are going to be ERC20 tokens. And then also there is a standard like ERC721. Similarly, like 721 is an NFT standard. So whichever OpenSea, everywhere, whatever NFT or art, song, music, whatever you're seeing, it's an ERC721. So these are token standards. Beautiful thing to learn. They have their separate smart contracts. You can learn them. I don't know if we'll be doing some of them in this lecture, in this series or not, but please go check out, and it's a good thing to learn all these token standards. Yeah, I see an empty Q&A box.
Yeah.
Great.
Abhishek, I guess you will definitely reach to that 50,000 mark that I have mentioned, and we will be catching up that soon also. Thank you for helping us. And is there any one more question?
Let's keep it, Padma. Let's keep it. It's 11. Yeah, let's keep it here. It's 11 p.m. I need to do a lot of things as well. So.
Padma, you can reach out to Abhishek anytime.
Yeah, Twitter. I've given my link on Twitter. Please. Yeah, go to Twitter.
Yeah, either you can ask on the blockchain track itself on the Slack channel. He can be available there, and you can reach out on his LinkedIn account as well. Thank you, Abhishek, for helping us and giving such a wonderful session.
Thank you so much, Women Who Code Blockchain. All the best. Beautiful series, honestly. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.